All right, everyone, welcome into another episode of the Spoiler Alert podcast. Scott, we have too many movies to talk about that we're actually splitting them up. We saw quite a handful of them, and I know we're late, but hey, that gave us more time to see some more films. But in this episode, we'll be going through the movies come out this week, and I did not lie. We're coming back, and we're doing the full review of Furiosa. That almost didn't happen because I got freaking COVID, but ended up seeing it. So we did get that ready to go, and we'll have a full review of that. We will also have 3 Convince Me to Sees. I have Exhuma and If, and Ty, you have In a Violent Nature, which did that have a full wide release?
I don't think it was very wide. I think it had a release, but I don't think it was every theater was playing it. I think there was only 1 or 2 theaters playing it down here.
Yeah,
this also might be the first weeks in a while that you have more Convince Me to Sees than I do.
Yeah, that usually doesn't happen. I will say that mine are a little older. Exhuma came out maybe a month or 2 ago at this point. And then If came out, I think 2 weeks ago. So a little older, but still, it doesn't happen often.
Yeah. I'm excited for it.
Let's go ahead and hop right into it. A movie that, Ty, you have already seen, and you're excited to talk about it, but that's going to be the little teaser for the next episode.
Yeah,
Bad Boys 4.
Yep, Bad Boys Ride or Die, baby.
Ride or Die. Someone gave them a little bit of shit for naming it wrong. There's a TikTok of Martin Lawrence and Will Ferrell reacting to it. They're like, this one should have been called Bad Boys Forever.
Absolutely. It should have been For Life, like the last one. And now I keep getting them confused too.
Yeah, they fucked up.
They did big time.
But Ty, I've only seen the first Bad Boys. Have you seen them all?
I've never seen the first or the second one. I only seen the one that came out a couple years ago. I knew the first. I've always heard of the first two, and I've heard they're kind of I guess classics at this point you could call them. But the last one was good, and it came out right around the time when movies were starting to come back out and people could go to the theater again after COVID. So people thought it would had a chance at being nominated for Best Picture, but that never happened. But it was funny. Nobody would have ever thought of Bad Boys movies getting nominated for Best Picture, but I guess crazy circumstances, crazier shit's happened.
That's true.
But this one though, we'll be talking all about it.
Awesome. So, I feel like I gotta see the other ones. I didn't mind the first one. It's just one of those full, 2000s action-packed movie, not trying to be too much.
Yeah.
But it's just a good time.
Yeah, definitely a good time.
So for this one, when their former captain is implicated in corruption, 2 Miami police officers have to work to clear his name. You should know this by now if you followed the Bad Boys. It's Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. I have a couple notes here, not super serious, but I am still a little surprised that he's allowed to make movies, after the whole Chris Rock Oscar slap. But when you have that kind of star power, you're not stopping Will Ferrell from being in anything.
Yeah, and I think everybody's kind of over it because I think since Oppenheimer, at least, this has been the biggest R-rated movie opening.
Wow, okay.
It actually crushed at the box office this weekend. For the first time in a long time, it made $53 or $54 million this weekend, which, I mean, that used to be nothing. People would laugh at that, but now that's one of the higher openings of the whole year.
That's impressive. I think I saw somewhere it did better than Furiosa.
Oh yeah, I think it already made what Furiosa did in its first opening weekend. I think Furiosa is pretty much getting ready to wrap its theatrical run, and I think Bad Boys already made its entire domestic run in however many days.
Yeah,
which is upsetting.
It's tough, especially when I'll hop on IMDb and it will say top 5 what was it, busts that are worth watching, and Furiosa was the one that was there. Box office wise, it kind of shit itself.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up later when we're talking about it, but I wish the story right now is how good that movie instead of just how bad it's doing at the box office.
To also reiterate how rough Furiosa is doing, Garfield beat it this week.
Yeah, that's tough.
and if
Jeez.
And If is on its 3rd week.
That's terrible.
Yeah, that ain't great. But Bad Boys, we won't go into super detail here. Ty already saw it, and maybe by the time we talk about it, I'll see it too.
One guy you'll definitely recognize is Joe Pantoliano, Ralph Cifaretto from the freaking Sopranos.
Hey, there he is.
He looks way older now, but he's awesome.
Yeah, that dude kicks ass. He's a bad guy in The Matrix too.
Yeah, that too. Yep. So he's been in a bunch of stuff.
He's always a dick.
Yeah, I know. I always just recognize him as Cifaretto, though. It's so funny.
Yeah. Next one here, The Watchers. Young artist gets stranded in an extensive, immaculate forest in Western Ireland, where after finding shelter, she becomes trapped alongside 3 strangers, stalked by mysterious creatures each night. So this is starring Dakota Fanning, and it's actually based off of an Irish horror novel by A.M. Shine. And a little note I put here: why are there always abbreviations in the horror writers' names?
I know, it's always M. Night, A.M.
Yeah, like, R.L. Stein, you know?
Yeah.
But speaking of M. Night, his daughter, this is the first movie she is directing. She has, however, who knows how much input she actually had, but she has producer credits for Servant, his TV show with Ron Weasley, and Old, which was not great.
God, okay. So that leads us to this movie, which is not doing well.
No, it is not. I said I hope she's doing better than M. Night. No, I almost saw this. Saw If instead, and that seems like the right move.
Yeah, I was literally torn between this and Bad Boys, and I think I picked the far more better option. This one's got a 5.8 on IMDb right now, 48 on Metacritic, and I can only imagine what the Rotten Tomatoes is right now. It's probably not great.
Yeah, if IMDb
29%.
Yes, if IMDb and Metacritic are that low, Rotten Tomatoes is always a bit more harsh.
Ooh. I was excited for this movie. I thought maybe M. Night will do, or whatever the hell her name is, Ishana. Maybe she'll do something like her dad has done in the past and make a good one. It just sounds like all the last few of his.
Yeah, when we were originally supposed to record before I got COVID, that's exactly what my sentiment was going to be. I was going to be excited for this movie, and now I have zero plans of seeing it.
The trailer was solid. It made you interested enough, and you're wondering what the twist and stuff's going to be. And now it's I kind of do still want to watch it, but I think I'm tempted to just Google what the hell happens.
Yeah, that's fair too. Or maybe when it's streamable, you just kind of skip through it.
Yeah, it's got to be streaming soon, I'd have to imagine.
And that's really what M. Night's problem is. It feels like he knows how to set something up, but he's had, classic twists in the past. And he's trying so hard to recapture that, and he just can't.
I know. He needs one that's just not a twist. Yeah, I guess
that would be the twist.
Knock at the Cabin, right? He did that one, right?
Yes.
There technically wasn't really a twist in that, but there was at the same time.
Yeah. That was okay.
That one was actually solid enough, yeah.
I felt like there could have been more.
Yeah, definitely.
But The Watchers currently sitting on the bench backlog. We'll see if I ever get to it.
Maybe one day this year we'll get to it.
Next one here, coming out on Netflix. Well, out on Netflix at this point and doing great. Last I looked, had a 7.8 on IMDb, and that is Hitman.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things.
A professor moonlighting as a hitman of sorts for a city police department descends into dangerous, dubious territory when he finds himself attracted to a woman who enlists his services. So honestly, after I read that, I'm like, it sounds like every other kind of spy thing going on here. That doesn't sound great, but it's kicking ass rating-wise.
Yeah. Glenn Powell just doing his thing, being a romantic whatever guy here, but absolutely great scores here on Rotten Tomatoes. 97% certified fresh critic score and 93 audience score, so real high all around.
Yeah, doing really well. And good for Adria Arjona, who's coming from Morbius to being a good movie.
Oh gosh, I didn't realize she was making that leap.
So feel good for her. But that's it. Only really 3 things to talk about, and next week's going to be even worse. There's only going to be maybe one movie coming out.
We'll have to pick a bunch of random obscure ones next week that are coming out.
There's going to be some. I mean, looking at your news, we know there's going to be a bunch of wild shit that just pops out of nowhere.
Yeah. Also, took me off guard that Richard Linklater directed Hitman. Because he's known for. Hold on, let me see. Trying to pull up what he's known for here. His big thing. What was his big directing movie he did here? Let me see.
Directing. It's
Richard Linklater. I know he was known for like some really big movies.
He produced Dazed and Confused.
Where is it at? I know he's got a couple that were just like huge, I thought, but maybe.
There it is. He directed and produced Dazed and Confused.
Okay, so it was that. And
that's probably his biggest one.
He's done a bunch of directing, but then
School of Rock.
Okay, that's it. School of Rock. That was it. I was like,
this dude rules.
Yeah, he's always been solid.
Good for him. Yeah, fuck yeah.
I couldn't remember School of Rock for whatever reason, but I love that movie. It's great.
I love School of Rock.
That's worth a rewatch to this day.
Oh, many rewatches.
But for this week news, we got quite a bit of big news. Not a ton, but every bit we did get is just huge, with the exception of the last bit there, which you see a picture of. So the first bit of news is the Peaky Blinders movie is coming. It's green lit. So it's been 2 years since the Peaky Blinders ended its initial run on the BBC. Since then, Cillian Murphy's won an Oscar, and he'll return to play the iconic character of Tommy fucking Shelby. And he's going to produce the highly anticipated film for Netflix. And it's going to enter production this year. The director, Tom Harper, is going to return to the movie. And the screenplay was written by the show creator, Stephen Knight. I think he did every single episode of the series, too, 36 episodes. He said that it's going to be an explosive chapter in the Peaky Blinders story. No holds barred, full-on Peaky Blinders at war. So, I mean, that sounds electric. I'm fired up right now just reading that. But details about any actors other than Murphy coming back and reprising their roles yet have not been announced. And there's been no release date revealed yet. But I am very excited. I'm going to have to go back and finish that show because I never finished it. I think I left off on the second or third season.
Yeah, I really liked it. I waited too long, I think, to watch it, honestly.
I think I did too.
There's only like 6 episodes a season.
So it's like, I'm sure it's like, you could probably finish it in like a week.
Yeah, it feels like British Sons of Anarchy.
That's perfect, because right now we're finishing Tay's first watch of Breaking Bad. My, I don't know, third, fourth, fifth, who knows? But maybe after this, I know she's watched all of Peaky Blinders. Maybe that's what we'll watch next.
Nice.
So I'm excited for that. That'll be cool. Next up here, I didn't think I got to announce this on the last episode, but the Knives Out 3 has been... we have the title for Knives Out 3, I should say. It's called Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. And we have pretty much all the cast, I think, announced for it. And it's all a bunch of bangers here. It's a huge ensemble cast. So the plot is still being kept under tight wraps. So we don't know what exactly these people are going to be doing besides Daniel Craig, obviously. But so far, the cast is Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, who I feel like she's not in as much shit anymore as she used to be. But bring back Mila Kunis. So happy to see her. Thomas Hayden Church, and people will probably recognize him from being Sandman in Spider-Man 3. Kerry Washington, Glenn Close, Jeremy Renner, Andrew Scott, Daryl McCormack, Josh O'Connor, and Callie Spaney, who was just the little apprentice girl in Civil War taking the pictures with old What's-Her-Face and old dollar store Joel from Last of Us.
Yeah.
But this one's set to hit Netflix in 2025, so I can't wait. This is going to be another Knives Out banger. 2 more things here. Speaking of, I guess, pretty big movies here, we're getting the next Hunger Games movie, and book, I should say. Book first and then movie coming after. So it's called Sunrise on the Reaping. The author has... wait, here we go. The next film adaptation of the book has already been confirmed for release in 2026, and the book is going to take place during the 50th Hunger Games, 24 years before the setting of the original trilogy, and it's going to take place decades after the most recent movie, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So they're kind of getting a little bit tricky here with all the timelines here. It's kind of hard to keep them all going, but earlier novels have revealed the 50th rendition of the Hunger Games to be the competition featuring Hamish Abernathy, who was originally played by Woody Harrelson. So I guess this is the one that he wins the Hunger Games in. So I guess they're finally going to do the book and movie for that. So that's pretty cool. Lionsgate Films, who distributed the first 5 movies, announced Thursday that it will be turned into a movie released in late 2026 with director Francis Lawrence returning to the series. So I'm not sure which ones he's done before, but if he's returning, he must have done at least a couple. Let's see. Francis
Catching Fire.
Lawrence. Okay.
Which is a good one. Mockingbird sucked. And the latest one sucked.
Oh, he also directed I Am Legend and
did.
Constantine. That's cool. Well,
So
I'm excited now.
He has
Oh my
potential.
God. He has 98 director credits on
He's allowed,
IMDb.
man.
That's insane.
Look how many of the recent ones are with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yep.
Yeah.
Must be a huge Jennifer Lawrence guy.
I get it.
Who's not, honestly? Who's not?
But see what else? It's because he's a music video guy, Ty.
Yeah, I was going to say he's done Beyonce and Lady Gaga too.
Got old Britney
And then
in there, 9 Inch Nails.
Catching Fire and Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. So literally all of like the most recent Hunger Games besides Songbirds and Snakes. And then
So that's
he did
why
direct it. Yeah, he did. Wow. Never mind.
that's why he has so many director credits. They're all music videos.
Okay, I was going to say that's absurd.
He did Green Day's international super videos. That's awesome.
That's so cool. This guy's a legend now. Turns out I like him more than I even thought.
rules.
Constantine. Yeah, 'cause, I mean, Black Eyed Peas, Pump It. Audio Slave, Be Yourself. Wow, he's got some hits here.
It's an OG. Get that grunge.
I Am Legend. Wow. Okay, so I'm excited for this one. I've never been a huge like Hunger Games guy. I think I watched. I don't even think I finished the original trilogy. I might have watched the second one, or I don't
That's
know.
the best one.
Yeah, I think they're all solid though. Like even Songbirds and Snakes, I liked it quite a bit. So maybe like I don't know. I think the books. I think I'm too old to read the books now. I think it's like young adult, like
So
girl books. I don't know.
What this feels like to me is like what J.K. Rowling did.
Mm-hmm.
Like after she was done with the Harry Potter series, that she just started making random shit.
Yeah.
Like she did, the one about Harry's son, and I think it was a play actually.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
so bad that nobody considers it canon.
Yeah. I think I bought the book and never even read it.
Yeah, it's bad.
So yeah, get excited for that if you're a big Hunger Games fan. I guess I'll probably have to wait till 2026. Maybe I'll read the book. I don't know. It seems like you don't have to have a ton of knowledge of the past books to read this one, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, he wins.
Yeah, it's old Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
So last bit of news here is just Piglet. So the next public domain horror movie coming is Piglet. It's a new take on the public domain character, which blends elements. These always crack me up whenever they try to say shit like this. It blends elements of classic slasher films like Friday the 13th and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Totally.
Not to get confused with the Piglet of the Winnie the Pooh-niverse. This is completely separate. Piglet. But their synopsis always are the best here. So, deep in the remote Appalachian hills lives Piglet, the son of a once industrious butcher marred by tragedy. Piglet's solitary life is shattered when fame-hungry millennials trespass onto his land. In a foolish bid to manufacture exploitation, one of them slaughters Piglet's beloved pig.
Oh.
Piglet's in capitals, but then pig is in lowercase, so who knows what's going on there, if he owns the pig, if it's his son, if it's his wife, I don't know. But little do they know,
As a pig.
little do they know, they've just incurred the wrath of a vengeful killer. Incensed, Piglet brutally dispatches the trespassers one by one, displaying savage power. That sounds like AI, like...
Seriously, they're just spitting shit in here. And Ty, I just found while looking at the Piglet IMDb page, I'm gonna send this your way.
Oh, I didn't even know there was an IMDb page. That's great.
There is, but someone made a list of public domain parody horror movies. So like, here's one I don't remember us talking about, but there is The Mean One, which is a horror movie about the Grinch.
I think I heard of that one.
There's one coming out, Cinderella's Revenge.
Jesus.
Followed by Cinderella's Curse. What are we doing?
It's so funny that Blood and Honey is literally number 1, and it's so low, 2.9, and even Blood and Honey 2, which I thought was still better but still terrible, is still number 2 on the list, and it's got a 4.9, and it's like 10 points better on Metascore. That cracks me up.
Hey, at this rate, their next one will be about a 10.
I mean, yeah, they're exponentially climbing here.
That's right.
The mean one, Bambi the Reckoning. We talked about that one. Mousetrap. What's the Mousetrap? Oh wait, that's Mickey Mouse. Steamboat's also Mickey Mouse. Pinocchio. I'm giving away my content here. I need to save some of these.
Yeah, save these.
Pinocchio's Revenge. Pinocchio Unstrung. That one's from 1996. Peter Pan.
I think I remember seeing the Pinocchio's Revenge one in like Blockbuster, and it like.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely remember seeing that VHS cover, being like, "What the fuck?" Wow, there's so many. I mean, the list goes on and on. Mary Had a Little Lamb, The Little Mermaid. That looks like a different Little Mermaid. I think we talked about this one.
It's impossible to keep track.
I literally, every time I'm getting ready for an episode, I check this website, Bloody Disgusting, because they have all the update, like all like the new and upcoming horror movies, and they always include shit like this. And there it is, Piglet, number 20.
There we go.
I also was reading about it, and it said it was an ensemble cast, and I was looking at the cast, and it's an ensemble of people you don't know.
Yeah, well, isn't every cast technically an ensemble?
Yeah, if it's by Piglet standards.
Fucking Piglet.
But ending with Piglet, that is the last of news for the week.
That's a good bit of news to end on. You gotta that's the high point.
Yeah.
All right, let's hop into the Convince Me to See section. Since I got 2 here, Ty, I'll kick it off.
All right.
We can sandwich you in the middle here. But I did see Exhuma, which I talked about whenever it was originally coming out, that I was pretty decently excited to see it, mostly because the main guy in it is from a movie I'm pretty sure you still haven't seen, but Old Boy.
I still have not. You're right.
Fantastic. A wild movie. I can't call it a great movie. It is just a wild movie. But he's starring in this, and that got me excited. Korean horror is always a bit different.
Yeah.
And this was no different than that, meaning it was weird. I am going to... I honestly don't know. I'm so in the middle that I think it really depends on the mood you're in and for if you want to see this film. Because on one hand, I'm like, that wasn't anything spectacular. On the other hand, there's a lot of pieces of it that were really fun and interesting. But due to that, it felt like 2 different movies, which was a shame. And that always bothers me. So there's essentially what is going on is there is a team. They're like younger people, I'd say like late 20s, that are not exactly exorcists, but they're kind of, think of the people from the Conjuring series, like that husband and wife, that couple.
Yeah, okay.
It's kind of like that. They go and they deal with the paranormal for these wealthy people. And so it starts off, there is a baby that apparently has some curse on him. He's like having health issues, whatever. Then they're like, oh, the father and the grandfather also must have these issues. They're like, oh, you're right. And so like they did. And so what they end up needing to do is go grab these old dudes, which is the one guy from Old Boy, Choi Min-sik, and the other guy, Yoo Ha-jin, got that wrong dude. Jeon Jin-ki. God, this is very difficult for me to say. But they are grave movers. And that's such a very weird term, but that is what they do. When they know if a land that they were buried on is like a bad place to be buried, or if it's disturbing the dead from getting to the other side, stuff like that. And so they come in and they move them or try to not exactly exorcism, but they try to make it so the dead are at peace and will stop bothering it. Basically, that's their job. So they get tasked to move this grave, and it turns out to be more than they bargained for. That was interesting. But that kind of ends, and then it goes on to something else. And it felt like a very direct break in the movie where you can be like, this could have been 2 movies, or they could have just completely cut out one part of it. Mm-hmm. And that was what made it extremely confusing. I think the concept was extremely cool. But the fact that it felt like 2 different movies and it's 2 hours and 14 minutes
I was going to say, I just saw that runtime. It is long.
It hurt. So it was tough. I gave it a 5. Mm-hmm. I do think if they would have just kept the second part, this could have easily been like a 7-8.
Okay.
Was that interesting? But the whole beginning, it almost feels like it was unnecessary because they go so much into this and then it means nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to make these connections. I'm like, wait, why did we do that? Why did we talk about these people when it has nothing to do with them? But yeah, that was kind of the shame here. So I think I'm going to end up saying I'm going to convince you not to see it. I don't think it's completely worth the time.
Yeah.
But if you do, that's what you should expect.
Okay. Is it in Korean?
Mostly. I'd say it's like 90% Korean.
Yeah, I think you convinced me not to see it. I think it sounds like 2 hours reading of Korean for a movie that is just about pretty good, but could be better. I'm going to have to skip it.
It just wasn't there. Like the only time they speak in English is because the like baby that's possessed or whatever is in California.
Okay.
Every other time they're in Korea.
Complete sidebar, but a movie that's 100% worth watching that you have to watch with subtitles is Godzilla -1, now on Netflix.
That's right.
And it's
that one best foreign picture, right?
Yeah, it did.
That kicks ass. I was actually talking about Godzilla with someone at work because we had like a Zoom meeting and I was she had her camera on and behind her she had like really cool like Japanese style paintings of Godzilla.
Oh, it's awesome.
And I'm like, is that Godzilla? And she's like, yeah, these are like original like promo posters or something.
That is awesome.
So like she was super into it. So I asked her, I'm like, all right, what's your favorite one? She's like, I love the classics, but she's like, -1 is the best thing ever.
Yeah, there's nothing that's gonna ever beat it.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, though, I did just see a headline that says Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire has become the highest-grossing movie in like the MonsterVerse, in the legendary MonsterVerse. So the ones that all those like the most recent Godzilla and Kong ones. Apparently, this has done the best out of them. $570 million worldwide. So wow.
You also saw a horror movie.
I did see a horror movie, and this is one that I'd also been kind of excited for because if you watch this trailer, you think you're going to get something completely new and different and a completely wild take on horror, which is always good to see because we've seen so many of the same things. Like we just talked about another Exorcist movie coming soon. There's even more Exorcist movie coming soon. You've seen all that, but this one takes place from the killer's perspective. So that's the whole movie. We are following the killer. So let me get into it a little bit more here. It's a cool premise. So the story here is when a locket is removed from a collapsed fire tower in the woods, it entombs a rotting corpse of Johnny, a vengeful spirit, spurred on by a horrific 60-year-old crime. His body is resurrected and becomes hell-bent on retrieving that locket. So pretty much these kids pick up a locket in the woods and that guy wakes from the dead to come get that fucking locket back. Like I said, entire film is set from the perspective of the killer, meaning we follow his literally every move. And I mean that so literally. We watch his every single step. And it is a shitload of walking. I mean, it makes sense all the old slashers, if you think about it, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Michael and Jason, they're getting from point A to point B by, you guessed it, walking. So I see what they're doing here whenever they're going for shit like this with, walking around from here to there. But it gets old very fast. What you see in the trailer is exactly what you get over and over and over again. So major differences here. between critics and audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. 83% certified fresh critic approval. Only 43% of audiences like this movie. So it's usually flipped for horror movies too. Usually you get a higher audience approval than critic, but not the case in this one. Probably because they expected a lot of killing and violence and shit and less walking. But it also has a 6.2 on IMDb and a 70 on Metacritic. So this is probably going to end up being one of those cult following movies. A lot of people are either going to love this one or hate it. I think it's good in parts, but I think it's a lot too boring to make up for it. So I will say, though, there is a kill in this movie that rivals anything we've ever seen in Terrifier. Like, it is over the top. It's nuts. So I could tell you about it, or you could wait to watch it. What do you think? What do you want?
Spoiler alert for the next minute.
Spoiler alert. So the guy pretty much drags around like an old rusty hook and like, what else does he have? An old rusty hook and like, I guess a machete or something like that. So there's a girl up on a cliff doing yoga. He hooks her through the stomach or slashes her through the stomach, whatever, pulls it out, hits her on the head with the hook, pulls her head through her stomach out the back of herself, and then kicks her over the hill and she falls down a mountain.
Jesus.
People in the audience were like, holy shit. There's actually quite a bit of people at my theater when I saw this one because it wasn't a wide release. So people were like looking around like, oh my God, we did not expect that. And there's another one where he kills somebody with a log splitter, stuff like that. So it is graphic. That's fun. Yeah. But you're getting too much just boring walking around in between kills like that. And then, which leads me to the third act of the film, because there's probably like, I don't know, he might kill like 10 or less people, I'd say. The last 1/3 of this movie or so, it ruined it for me even worse. So I was probably at like a 5 or 6 on this. I ended up at a 4, I think I'm going to end up at. But so there is a lone survivor. She gets rescued. This is just spoiler alert. Fuck it. Gets rescued by a lady in a truck, and they're driving away out of the woods and stuff, and you keep waiting for something to kind of happen. They're just driving this truck, and this lady's just rambling to her about nonsense for like 10 minutes, and I was like, okay, something's going to happen. So the truck, like, she stops the truck, and she pulls over. She's like, I got to get your bleeding to stop. Stay right here. Stay right here. She walks around, and then you're looking out waiting for that killer to come back or something else to happen, but nope. So she just stops the truck, and they start going again, rambling on down the road, and then that's literally the end of the movie. It shows the locket buried in the woods again, whatever. So he must have grabbed the locket, whatever, and he was just fine. But the last third of the film is just a lady like yapping at her in this truck, and nothing else happens. So I was pissed. The ending was just brutally. I
thought it was supposed to follow him. Why is it on this bitch?
Exactly. So I think if they made that shift there after, I don't know, he must have got. Okay, to get the locket back, these two, the sole surviving girl and her boyfriend were like, he was like, I'm going to go distract him. You fucking get out of here, whatever. She leaves the locket behind, and the guy tries to distract him. He's like, hey, you ugly motherfucker. Before he can even finish saying anything, the killer already has him dead. He turns around and just starts brutally bashing his head in with a hatchet, and he doesn't stop. He seriously probably bashes his head in with a hatchet for like 2 minutes in the movie, and that's just constant that. And she just runs away screaming. And then that's the last you see of the killer. And then, like I said, she gets lost in the woods for like 5-10 minutes. The whole overnight, she just keeps running around in circles in the woods. And you're expecting her to die or something to happen, but no. And then she gets picked up, gets yapped at for a long time by an old lady. And then the movie just ends. And everybody's looking around like, are you kidding me? So I don't know. Whenever there is horror and killing in it, it's pretty solid, but there's a lot of boring bullshit in between to make up for it, I think, in my book. Especially at only an hour and a half long, to be bored at a horror movie is, like, rare.
Yeah, that's a rough one. And, I mean, they should have done, like, I don't know if it's canon or not, but in the Friday the 13th game, Jason has, like, a teleport ability. You know, he can only go so far, but I don't know if that's canon or not.
I mean, it honestly reminded me of another shit film that I saw, the Sasquatch Sunset, just a bunch of Sasquatches walking around in the woods. That's what it reminded me of, except he's a killer. He's a zombie. So I guess I'm convincing you. I'm going to convince you to watch it, but just skip through it like you just said.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
It'll probably be streaming soon if it's not already.
The problem with Exhuma is like if you skip through it, you're not going to know what's going on. With this, it sounds like if you skip through it, I mean, dude's going to kill people. That's kind of it.
Yeah, you can definitely skip to all the good parts if you watch this one. So
okay. I'll probably do that because I'm interested in
the one. All the kills are nuts. There's some pretty crazy ones. They pull no punches with that, so good for them on that. But too much boring bullshit in between. Because I thought this movie was going to be great. After the trailer, I was hyped.
Like, is it a lot of, like, does he stalk at all? Like, is he just, like, sitting in the woods, like, looking at them, like, all right, I found them? Or is it like, all right, I think they're over here?
He's definitely, like, stalking them and shit for a bit, and then they all run away, and he's kind of just like, well, I guess they went this way. I don't know if he has, like, a telekinetic fucking, like, link to this locket. He knows where to go to get it or whatever, but...
Yeah. I was going to say, it'd be pretty funny if, like, he was wrong a bunch of times. It was like, fuck, where'd they go? You know?
Yeah.
All right.
But it's not rated, so that's why it didn't get a very wide release, because it gets graphic as hell.
I wonder if there's laws around that.
I think there has to be. I think if it's going to be rated R, you can only probably do so much, and then everything past rated R, you're going to get not rated, and you're only going to get a limited release.
Interesting. All right, I will finish it up here with another convince me to see. This is also a coin flip, quite honestly, but this is for If, which stands for Imaginary Friends. Ryan Reynolds in this one, quite honestly, a shit ton of people in this movie. There is a lot of people in this movie. Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski, who also wrote and directed, Steve Carell, Liza Colon-Zayas, who is, oh man, I forget her name, but she's in The Bear. She's like one of the original workers.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Oh, what's her real name in The Bear? Let me grab that real quick. Tina.
Oh, okay.
She's Tina in The Bear, so you'll recognize her. And then a lot of everyone else is just a voice of Imaginary Friends. So you'll have Awkwafina, Emily Blunt, George Clooney, Bradley Cooper, Matt Damon, Bill Hader, Richard Jenkins, Keegan-Michael Key, Blake Lively. Who else? We got Sam Rockwell, Maya Rudolph, Amy Schumer, Jon Stewart, Brad Pitt. You know, like they just got a haul of people to do this movie, to do some voice acting. It's like obviously they're not big characters, but they are there for a decent handful of times. But
yeah,
what I will say,
he's got a lot of famous friends. He called them in for this one.
He got some buddies. But yeah, for this one, look, I wasn't expecting much. It's a kids movie. I am not the audience. I will say at the start, talk about not pulling punches. It's a weird thing to not do in a kids movie, but immediately the girl's mother dies of cancer.
Oh, Jesus.
And like, it's going through, they don't say it to your face. It just is doing like a bunch of, like, oh, here's this family together. Oh, they're here. They're in the hospital. Oh, she's wearing a bandana and shaved her head. Oh, she's gone. So it's like, you know what happened. They don't say it. That's the first 2 minutes of the movie. It's like, God damn. That's a lot. And then 3 minutes later, you're like, okay, now her dad, John Krasinski, is also in the hospital and needs to have like heart surgery. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Gosh. And so like that was brutal. But I will say I respect that in a kids movie, because it reminds me a lot of like Mr. Rogers, where he wasn't afraid to tell children what was up. When 9/11 happened, that's a very big thing that he just went and talked about it. Or when, it was like weird for you to have African-American friend or something. He invited the mailman to come sit and soak his feet with him. Just very straightforward. Kids need to know what's up. I respect that type of deal. And that's what I think they were going for here. And to an extent it worked. So I appreciate that type of thing. I'm not a father or anything or a parent, but I know as a kid, I think that's something to appreciate. Is not everything is roses and rainbows.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think they do a decent job there. What was annoying is the whole like first half hour of the movie is so much whiplash of the main girl being at her grandmother's, going to the hospital. All right, we're back at the grandmother's. Oh, she slightly sees an imaginary friend back at the hospital. And it's like, okay, you need to pick a place to be at. And like, I get, you have to keep going back, visiting the dad, whatever. That's cool. But they really didn't dive into the imaginary friends being around and why they're around, why she can see them, etc. until 45 minutes into the movie, a little longer. And then the rest of it is, they're trying to find these imaginary friends' kids. They don't have kids anymore. And this is just a direct ripoff of Foster's.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. So
that's exactly what this is.
Okay, all right.
So that if you've seen Foster's, that's what this is. They are trying to get imaginary friends who have had their kids outgrow them back with a new kid. There's a little twist there in the middle that I won't say, but that's essentially what this movie is. I will also say I thought this movie was well over 2 hours. It is 1 hour and 44 minutes. It felt extremely long.
Oh, no.
And I think that is because of like all the back and forth going on. And I don't know if they were trying to do a little bit of like world building. But the best part is the 10-minute scene where she meets all the other imaginary friends. That was such a fun part. They're neat to see. The CGI is so well done. Like, it's pretty damn impressive how well done the CGI is. And you remember in like Game of Thrones, they talked about, we don't show the direwolves anymore because they're so expensive to animate. That's this whole movie. Is the Steve Carell's character Blue is just this big fuzzy dude.
Isn't that a character on Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends too? Named
Yes,
Blue?
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's spelled BLU. This one is actually the color blue, but he's purple. But direct ripoff of Foster's, which honestly, I thought that's what it was going to be. I thought it was actually going to be that, and it was not. This is a completely different IP, and they just kind of took that idea. Which also, I am going to have to think about it, but there was a preview during that movie that I was like, wait a minute. Now they're just copying another TV show from when we were kids and turning it into a movie. And I'm really drawing a blank on what that movie was, and that's going to bother me. But I remember sitting through the trailer, I was like, okay, are they just taking old TV shows and turning them into something else? Because that's exactly what it felt like. So decent funny laughs in here. I wanted more Ryan Reynolds. Like, he was the funniest part because he always is. That doesn't stop. I wanted more of him. It felt like he could have been utilized a bit further, but was not. The focus was on B, who is the main girl, who's kind of just I don't know, she didn't do a bad job. She's just kind of boring. And also, I straight up recognize I am not the targeted audience for this movie. I think if you have a kid or if you want to put on a movie for a kid, this is probably a pretty good one. But for a 30-year-old male, it was okay. I don't hate it. I also ended up with a 5 on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This one was never one I was really too big on, just because I don't know. I don't know. Just didn't really do it for me. But yeah, I do like the whole idea. It's a good premise for a movie. I'm glad all the voice cast, we brought in all the big guys for that. Definitely one maybe throw on for the niece one day.
Yeah. Let her watch that, and they'll enjoy it for sure. I all the kids that were in there, they seem to really, really like it. There was some douchebag dad in front of me though, who I thought I was going to have to say something, because he was on his phone just scrolling around Instagram for the first like 15 minutes.
Douche.
And I was like, all right, bud, you're like, if you weren't right in front of me, I wouldn't care. But every time I'm looking at the screen and I see you and I don't want to see you.
Yeah, it sucks whenever people do that.
Man, I'm really upset I cannot find this trailer. I think I'll keep looking for it, and maybe by the end of the show, we'll have it. But I just remember being kind of upset about it.
I'm trying to see what I can do to find one too.
Hell was
Does that lead us to our last full review of the movie of the pod? Though?
That does, and that is going to be Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga. I don't know why it's called a saga, but I don't even know what a saga is now that I think about it.
I know, right?
But yes, we are going to do a full review of Furiosa. We'll start spoilerless and go into spoilers. So Ty, how about we just say our ratings first? We can discuss it without spoilers.
Okay, let's go up to that.
You want to do a countdown and we'll say it at the same time?
Yeah, okay, let's do it. I think I might be a little higher on it than you.
Okay, fair enough. We'll go on go. I'll do 3, 2, 1, go, and then we'll go on go. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. 6,
8. Okay.
All right.
So I'm like almost a 9. I was like 8.7.
Okay. Fair enough. So yeah, let's go from there. I will say overall liked it. I had some issues with a little bit of plot holes here and there, and also the time jumping, which was like, I'll go more into it with spoilers, but I felt like they left that you just had to assume happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, I missed that. I just completely I was looking at my screen. I was like, wait a second. I was still looking for that trailer too, and I was like, yeah. Okay,
but yeah, I was saying how overall really enjoyed the movie. I thought the action was fun, acting was good. Didn't have any problems with it. What I did get annoyed with was I think there were some plot holes, and maybe they weren't plot holes, but they would do like little time jumps ahead.
Yeah.
And you'd have to assume what happened. I'm like, whoa. I thought the whole point of the movie was to get your story. Why are we skipping so far ahead? And now, like, I'll talk about it more in the spoilers, but now you go from being one person to essentially someone else, and everything's just chill. Like, that doesn't seem right. But that will make more sense in the spoiler part.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you too. I think I like this one quite a bit. I don't know if I liked it as much as Fury Road. Definitely a little less action in this one than Fury Road, I think. But I think that this one has a better overall story because it's pretty much just focusing on Furiosa, like we said.
Right.
I think the better story makes up for that a little bit of a lack of action, if there is a lot of one. But yeah, this is definitely one you want to watch at the theater. You know, definitely one that I wish more people would have seen at the theater.
Yeah.
I mean, not a ton to talk about spoilerless.
It was. I will say it does a decent job. Like, it tries to be an epic, you know, kind of like a Dune or those bigger movies. I just don't know if it has. I don't even know what to call it. The world building that some of these other ones do. Because I think one of the most interesting parts for me of this movie was learning about like all the different settlements.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like,
I really liked that quite a bit. There was like the Bullet Town. I can't remember what they were all called. Bullet Town and Gas, and then they had the.
They were very basic names.
Right.
Bullet Town.
Bullet Town, Gas Town, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, spoilers.
It's worth seeing. I will say
definitely worth seeing. I definitely think so too. Yeah. At this point, though, it's not going to be out for very much longer. So if you haven't seen it yet, you're not going to have to wait for very much longer before you can just watch it at home.
That's right. But yeah, not a ton to say without spoilers. So you just want to hop into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So if you don't want to hear these spoilers, that's always kind of the problem with prequels. Is like you can have spoilers, but they don't matter because you know what's going to happen a little bit. But either way, if you don't want them, this is where you leave. We'll see you next week.
Bang. But yeah, I do think like since this one's a full-on origin story, it does start off pretty slow. You know, just like you get young Furiosa, and then the whole her getting kidnapped and whatnot, and her mother. I think the scene with her mother chasing after her and trying to like rescue her and stuff, that was like one of the best parts in the entire movie.
That was hard as fuck.
Her mom's fucking awesome. Riding those bikes, taking out the other bikers, raiding their shit, following her, going in, stealing her back off, and then like eventually just fighting herself to the death, pretty much.
Yeah, and that made me want more of that.
Yeah.
Like, what is this town that they came from, or the settlement they came from?
Yeah, they could have started all badasses.
Yeah, they're just hard as fuck. Like, yeah, I really wish we knew more about them. Sidebar, found the trailer.
Oh, okay.
So, remember Chalk Zone?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're copying that. It is called Harold and the Purple Crayon. So instead of chalk, it's a fucking crayon.
Oh, my.
And it's Zachary Levi. So people are already annoyed with him with Shazam and all that. But
I don't think he can make any good movies these days.
Nah, he's kind of out. But yeah, I remember I'm like, this is just fucking Chalk Zone. What are we doing? So like all these old, I guess
just recycling premises from old shows here at this point.
Early 2000 shows, and they're just making the movies.
Maybe that's what people want. I don't know.
I mean, I want it, but don't make it garbage like this.
Yeah. Then don't get Zachary Levi. Nobody wants Zachary.
But yeah, no, I wish we saw more about not just her mother, but where she came from, because she never went back, right? She never found it.
No, I don't think she ever made it back. She eventually planned on it, but that never ended up working out either. Kind of just got hung up there with Morton Joe or whatever the hell.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, which also reminds me, that's like takes me to my next point. We don't really get that much like old, like of age in this movie, like Furiosa. I feel like most of the movies, like well, not most. I should say it feels like a lot of like maybe a third or more of the movie is just young Furiosa, which I thought the whole thing was just going to be Anya Taylor-Joy. I didn't know we were going to get like really young Furiosa eventually leading up to Anya Taylor-Joy.
And that's where, I see the plot hole for me was with that time skip was when it went from this young girl to Anya, because she gets captured. Mm-hmm. She is basically a bargaining chip for the big group or whatever. Yeah. They take her. She's supposed to be slave girl that gets pregnant. She runs away, but not really. She runs like into the mechanic area and puts on a mask, and they're like, "Where'd you go?" I'm like,
that's
okay.
that's not a girl, that's a guy.
And like,
let's just move on.
Yeah, and like they just gave up looking for her immediately. Like, your place is not that big. Yeah, and then when she finally was around again, working for the main guy, I already forget his name, like her buddy, and he finds out that she's a girl, everything's just chill.
Yeah, they're not like, all right.
Like they were not at any point where they like I'm gonna call him the king of that settlement, where they like, wait a minute, we lost a girl a while ago. You're a girl. Put two and two together, but like that bothered me. I'm like, why is she just like free to go?
Yeah, I don't know if they must have thought she was way better at doing the truck shit than she was birthing kids. They would just let it go or whatever. But you're definitely right on that.
Yeah, and that's what I assumed. I assumed that the guy, I don't remember, is it Jack? Is that him?
Joe? Is it Immortan Joe? Oh, the guy that drives a car. Oh, yeah, Jack. Okay, yeah. The guy that drives the car.
So it's him. I'm like, okay, he convinced them that, like, hey, I need her to help. That's what I pieced together, but we don't know.
Right.
It could very well be that they're just fucking stupid and don't realize it's her.
Yeah. He was one of the better parts of the entire movie, though, Jack. Yeah. He was cool. He reminds me of like Mad Max from the last one or whatever.
So I didn't see the Mad Max Easter egg, did you?
No, I did not actually. I don't think
there's an Easter egg. I saw it in probably TikTok, but I think it was near the end when she was just like riding away. Apparently, he was just sitting on top of this hill in his car, just like watching.
Oh, okay. Wait, I think I might have seen that too.
Yeah, I didn't put that together.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I must not have noticed it in the movie.
I like stuff like that.
Yeah, me too.
Chris, we got to talk about Chris Hemsworth's nose. Why they have to fuck with his nose?
I don't know. They must have just wanted to make him look a little more ugly or something like that.
Yeah, all right, you're too good looking. I
think he was probably actually the best part of the entire movie because he agreed. He said he wanted to be a bad guy for once because he's always been these good guys and stuff. He was fucking funny. He was good. He was evil. He was funny. Dementus is a good name.
I liked him a lot. I honestly did not recognize him for the first 20-30 minutes. Like I saw his character, at the beginning. I'm like, oh, who's this guy? That's some dude. And then I'm like, when's Chris Hemsworth going to come in? And then there was another time he like drove in. I'm like, oh, there he is. And then it took me, honestly, way too long, kind of embarrassingly long, to realize they were the same person. So like, that's on me. That wasn't great. But yeah, no, I think they all did a good job acting wise. I did put a note on the Letterboxd. How can we? I really want Hollywood to stop the stupid ass trope of whenever a woman is changing and becoming more badass or whatever, she shaves her head.
Shaves her head. Yep, it's such a like.
Stop it.
It's like a dead giveaway that she's gonna start being more badass than she already is.
Like you're cool. You don't need to shave your head. Like you're fine. Dude, she ripped off her arm. That was pretty sick.
That was crazy. So they teased it so many times whenever she loses that arm. Like whenever Dementis, like I think he like rams into them and like the tire rubs her arm, and you're like, oh, that's how she loses. No, dude, just from straight up hanging from that shit. She's like, fuck it, I'll let it go.
That was also, they're driving in circles around her and everything, and then she's just gone. It's like, wait, no one noticed. They're too busy doing burnouts and donuts to realize that who they're trying to keep in is just gone.
Yeah. That also reminds me, like, so in the beginning, like, Chris Hemsworth's kind of just like a dumpy, like, kind of idiot villain, but then towards the end, he really becomes like fucking, like, kind of pretty evil.
Yeah.
Well worth getting her revenge on, which that is also, like, one of the big themes of movies, like, actually getting revenge on someone. Because a lot of times in these movies, they'll be like, I'll let this person go, my revenge, whatever, it's not worth it. Yeah. No, she straight up gets her revenge on this dude for, like, pretty much taking her whole family and whatever and ruining her life.
Yeah, anytime you pull, like, Last of Us 2 bullshit, I'm not going to like it. And it's brutal revenge, too.
Yeah.
I also kind of like how they did that. Like, it was like someone telling her story.
Yeah, that was really cool. I like that quite a bit. And it was like, he was like, Furiosa told me this personally. I was like, oh, okay, that's fun.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, they said she did this, she did this. No, what she actually did was grow a big ass tree inside of him. The tree that she had the seed to the entire movie. So that was awesome. I thought that really brought it all together. Yeah,
that was good. And to be honest, and this is also probably like I don't remember Fury Road very well, but I don't remember her at all.
Yeah, I mean she's in it, but I definitely think like the only shit I remember from Fury Road is just how action packed it is. Like I need to rewatch it again just to see, like, try to pay more attention to the story, because I feel like the story is just like trying to bring down a Morton Joe or something. I guess I don't know.
Take him down. Yeah. So that was I didn't mind it at all. It was a lot of plot holes and the jumping around for me. That's what made me bring it down. But overall, fun movie.
Yeah, I really liked it. And that just sucks that it didn't make any money. So it might end up being the last of these Mad Max movies, which is a bummer. But this one's definitely really worth a watch, in my opinion. Like I said, high 8 on it. We'll see where it ends up in the end of the year here, but definitely one of my favorites so far, I think.
So let's put that to the test here. Checking out our top 5. I believe, it is still the same as it was last time. Dune 2 sitting alone at the top.
Nothing's going to catch it, I don't think, at this point.
I don't either. Followed by Love Lies Bleeding, Snack Shack, Last Stop in Yuma County, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly War, Boy Kills World.
Okay, that one's on my list too. I think I'm going to try to make time for that one this week.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
But I knew, even though it's a short or a slow week for movies, we do have 2 huge shows coming this week. So we have The Boys, new season comes out on Thursday, and Sunday is the start of House of the Dragon season 2, and I'm excited.
Are we going to turn into a show podcast?
A recap pod? We might have to.
We could.
Did you watch the first season?
No, I didn't.
I was going to say, I think you were firmly against it, right? You should watch it.
I was. I know, and I know I will. I am just I've been hurt too many times. Game of Thrones hurt me. Dexter hurt me.
Yeah.
Dexter hurt me again. Like I just to dedicate so much time to something to have them just like shit on your chest at the end. Like I'm not OBJ. I'm not into that. It's like, but yeah, we already got a lineup for next week at least. We'll talk Hitman and Bad Boys.
Yeah, and I'm excited to talk about Bad Boys. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
maybe you'll see it by then.
I might be able to sneak that in. Let's see.
Hell yeah, sounds good to me. It sounds like we got a game plan for this week.
We do, and we will see you next week.